Go ahead.
Okay. This is either one of one or one of many. Um, I'm talking to you, my brother, and the first thing I want to say is my first memory. Okay. I was in third grade, and we were in your basement, and there was a heater down there, and you had this pipe, and you stuck it in there and got it real hot, and you decided it's a good idea to brand me. Okay. Now I didn't get you in trouble because I didn't whine like a little bitch. I didn't cry or do any of that. It's like now my mom noticed it later and she asked me, "What is that?" Because it's a perfect circle. I mean, just like, bloop, like wow, branded, man. Right. So that's my
Mm.
first real memory. Okay. And so I've known you since I was in third grade. You were in the second grade. So we
Yeah.
was just
Yeah.
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 And it kind of
Kind
went
of-
on from there. I'm not going to tell any stories, but we ran like a couple wild Indians for
We did.
uh, summer. So if
We
you wouldn't
did.
mind, what's the first memory you have of me, man?
The first memory I have of you, let's see. You know, because when you asked me that for the first memory, I was thinking, the first memory I have of you was when we used to play baseball in the summer, and
Mhm.
you had that huge lot across the street from your house, like in between you and the railroad tracks, and of course, Minguini's house was kind of catty corner off over there too, and we'd play baseball over there. And my first memory was like playing baseball with you. And I don't know how old I was, probably, probably second, third grade, I suppose. But yeah, we played a lot of baseball over there, and we'd go swimming in the summers too. So a lot. That's my first memory of you playing baseball. I don't think either one of us are worth the crap at that point, but just
No,
having
I
fun out
wasn't.
in the sun. Just get outside and go play baseball.
Well, you remember when my glasses were about that thick?
That's because that's when I got your when I got that. This is what we're going to be talking about. That was my first thought. I had a conversation with and you weren't even in the vehicle at the time. And I don't even remember what kind of vehicle it was, but I had a conversation with your mother about those glasses because it's the kids that age, they don't have any filter. So I
Right.
think I said something about, man, Rob's glasses are really thick. And of course, your mom got her hackles up, and she goes, "Well, there's a reason why they're that thick." And I got the whole background, your vision problems and your hearing problems and all that kind of stuff that meant less than nothing to a second or third grader, of course, because I didn't know any of that crap. But that was so when I got that question, I was like, well, that's literally my first memory was that like the most lasting, I guess, was that conversation with your mother about why your glasses were so thick. Because that's kid with no filter. That's all I wanted to know. Why is these glasses so thick?
Wow. Yeah. Well, that's a oh okay. When I was a kid, I had the tube issues in my ears. Right, they're supposed to
Right.
be like minor like that, and I had some operations or whatever. Went through all that, and obviously, and I mean, I was bat boy. Um, uh, last time I was in Wyoming, mom had this box she pulled out, and she had some of my stuff in it from when I was a little kid, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
swear to God, those glasses were about this big. Okay, the bows on them were like this long, right? And they were
Yeah.
about that thick. It's crazy, but um, yeah. So now I just got older and uglier, but God created contact lenses, so that's kind of where I'm at. But I'm still blind as
Yeah.
hell. Okay.
Yeah, contact lenses was your savior, man. Because can you imagine going through life with those glasses? Oh my God, those things are huge.
Well, even I mean, as an adult, and even with the kind type of lenses they have nowadays, my eyes through a pair of glasses would probably be about that big.
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah,
Well, that's
and
what I mean. The older you get, the creepier you look, the thicker your lenses are. You look like you look like the guy that ought to be pulling up to somebody, picking kids up off the street in a child molester van when you wear those kind of glasses. Ooh, yeah, you don't want
Yeah.
that look. You don't want that look.
Well, I just look at it like this. I mean, I don't know any different because it's the way I've always been. But
Right.
I look at it like this. It's like I don't have to see anything I don't want to see, and I definitely don't have to hear anything I don't want to hear. I mean, pretty simple. So in a way, it's kind of a blessing, you know.
Yeah. Well,
So
God made you the way you are, buddy. You know,
well, I'm perfectly flawed, and I'm absolutely fine with that.
that's
Okay,
correct. That's
because the
correct.
one thing I do have going for me is well. There is a deficit here too. I don't look I look a lot better in person than I do on any kind of camera. So there's
Mm.
that. But um chicks still dig me, so that's a good thing. And
Yeah.
I can't account for their taste, but they still like me. So, as long as I got that going on, I can't complain too much. So is it okay if I ask you a couple questions?
Sure.
Okay. If you want to hear my take first, just say so. And if you want to pass, just pass. Okay.
Sure.
Um, First of all, um, looking at my hat, anybody that knows me knows that I am very, very pro-military.
Up.
Very military.
It's blocked
Dude,
up right there. Nope. You're holding it too low. I can't see it. Oh yeah.
better.
Okay. Yep. Yep. Got it.
So, on Fridays I wear red. For the kids that are out there in harm's way right now, and I'm very focused on that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, okay, so you spent how many years in the military?
I was 12 active and three National Guard. So 15.
Okay. Now, if you don't mind, okay, I'm gonna do a little background story here. When I was a kid, there was actually only two people that I knew in all my childhood, of all my childhood friends, period, that had a clue of what they wanted to be when they were an adult. Okay, that was you and my brother.
Mm,
Anybody else, they were like me. I didn't know what I wanted to be. I had no clue. Okay, but you always said you wanted to be a police officer and a
hmm.
school teacher. Okay, from the time we were little. Okay, so
Yeah, I
I would
know.
say, you tell them if you don't mind, tell them what your MOS was, bro. Let them know
I
what time
was,
of day it is.
yeah, I was 95 at that point. It was a 95 Bravo. I don't know what it is anymore, but which is a military policeman. And so I was an Army cop. I was an Army cop. And then, of course, later when I got out of the service, I went back to school and got a education degree, and I've since had a couple of education degrees. But now I'm a sixth grade teacher. So yeah, there's that. But then I'll be honest with you. I mean, just to go down the rabbit hole here a little bit, the if you want to be a teacher, and I'm not saying it's for everybody, of course, but if you want to be a teacher, personally, I think you ought to join the military first because it teaches you the discipline that you are going to need to to show children that this is what it's going to take to be successful. You can't pretend to do it. You can't just kind of show up. You if you if you stay in the military for any time, you go through a lot of leadership courses. And honestly, I'll just be honest with you. That's what's lacking in education today. I mean, you can talk about curriculum this and curriculum that. People are still learning. People still need to learn, but it's the lack of classroom management that is the detriment of many teachers nowadays. That's that by and large, that's what I see as the problem. College cannot teach you that. You don't come out of college knowing how to manage a classroom. You pretend to manage a classroom, but then some people just can't do it. They need training. I mean, they're not born to do it. I'll put it that way. And the military will tell you that leaders aren't born; they're made. You make a leader. So you train them how to lead, train them what it's going to take, and then you put them in the position to do it and coach them along with it. Well, that's not how teaching works. We're going to give you all this knowledge of curricula, and then we're just going to throw, here you go, doors open, classroom's yours. It doesn't work. Okay, and I think that's probably why a lot of parents are disgruntled with education because they don't see their child. If I call you on the phone, you got kids, I call you on the phone and I say something like, "Hey, Johnny's acting up in class," and it never happens at home, you're immediately going to think that I am the problem. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's not so much I am the problem, it's what I'm allowing Johnny to do. See, if you don't allow that at home, I shouldn't be allowing that here in school. And there's the disconnect right there. But the military teaches you, strategies for that. I mean, there's been years where I was the most hated individual in the classroom because that's what I needed. There was my starting point with that class. This class wasn't getting along with itself, so it needs another scapegoat. I will be the scapegoat till it learns to function, with each other because it couldn't function with each other. So good, you just take all your anxiety out on me so that you can work with each other, and now we got a starting point. So now we've identified the problem. Now we can go forward. And the military taught me all that stuff. Sometimes you got to be the bad guy.
Right. Well, my other that kind of leaded into my next question. You sort of answered it, but what kind of blowback do you get from parents? I mean, do you have problems? Like I mean, teachers in general, not necessarily you, but just teachers in general. Do they have issues with like the school board and the parents and all that stuff? Does that more or less than it was? How long you been a teacher? 15 years?
20.
Okay. Do you see that being more of a problem or the same or less of a problem at this point?
Well, and we're using it right now, social media. With social media, I don't know that it's more or less, but it became easier.
Okay.
So so parents, because I'm sure our parents had concerns too with things that were going on. Uh, and I guess every generation is going to have that. But with social media, it gets easier I don't want to word that. It gets easier to say what's on your mind and have more people hear it than maybe back in the past. You'd have, our parents probably had a group of friends or something similar where they would bellyache too.
Hmm.
Uh, but now it's just like your group of friends could be thousands of people that you're bellyaking to, and then that word gets around faster. It seems like.
Right.
So I don't know
Hmm.
that it's any more or any less. It just seems easier. It's easier for them to bellyache about something. But honestly, I don't get a lot of that. I don't. You know, I do what I'm supposed to do. Do I get out on the hairy edge sometimes with some kids? Yep, I get right out on the hairy edge with some of them because that's what it's going to take. Because you got to, we all got to get, like it or not, there's a big push. Seems like in every so often about, oh well, just let so and so be so and so. Well, it to me that's very short sighted. When you
Right.
look at things long term, that's successful people do certain things to be successful. So when you look at things long term, telling somebody, well, you just do you, boo, is not necessarily what's going to make them successful long term. Because it's a very different strategy than some people have. Well, let's just get you out of high school, or let's just get you to pass the test, or we'll just get you the prerequisite knowledge this week.
Right.
When you look at somebody and my thought for
In other
you is,
words, keep it going
okay,
down the
what are you
road,
going to do in
they'll
20
still
years?
look at it. Gotcha. Yeah. Wow. See, I didn't expect that kind of a response because okay, I'm gonna be totally transparent here. I live in Southern California, and see. there's two things that go on as far as like social media, the media, anybody else in the country pretty much thinks that everybody in California, we're all a bunch of fruits, nuts, and flakes. Okay?
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
You know,
And
what's that?
quite
What's that old?
honestly,
What's that old? See, Californians are like a bowl of honey nut. What is it? Honey nut, not honey nut. The crunch raisin bran. Once you get rid of all the, what is it, the nuts and the soggy or the, with the fruits and the nuts, all you got left is the soggy flakes.
wait,
Yeah, there
that's
you
right.
go.
Yeah. Well, okay. See, I kind of want to go off a little bit because the California that I know, now I see the news too, and I look at it, and it's like, where in the hell they get these people from? You know, I've been to Planet Hollywood twice. Okay, actually, once when I first came out here, and when and that was in the late '80s.
Mhm.
Oh, I knew right away that wasn't my deal. I didn't know what to expect, but man, I tell you what, anything that you're talking about as far as a bowl of cereal, that's where you're going to find it.
Mm,
Okay. Now, it's pretty much that way in San Francisco, or it's like
mm,
in San Francisco, you got to have a poop map. So when you're walking around, you don't step in human pee or poop. What the hell?
that's
What kind of crap is that? Okay, so I wrote that off.
yeah,
Okay, but
yeah.
um, where I live at, I would say that I get around a lot of people, and there's a lot of very intelligent, hardworking, skilled people here. Okay, that are highly motivated. Um, uh, way more. See, we were just talking off camera, pretty much, but um, uh, fence riders, pretty much.
Mm,
Um, in the sense that it's not everybody's, they think that everybody here, we're all a bunch of libs. Okay. That is not true.
no.
I think that, see, we're talking rabbit holes here. I think that the election thing was started in California, because I see how the elections go down, and I talk to people, and things seem to get ratified into law that everybody was completely opposed to, but nobody
Mm,
asked questions. Our governor, when he first came into office, okay, when the final tally was done, and that he was going against this guy named Cox from San Diego, and Cox had 51% of the vote, okay, and Newsom had 48%. But he's the governor. Nobody asked any questions. Nobody asked any questions. It's like, "Oh, okay, whatever." So, and then this guy, what a clown boy. Wow. I mean, if it's ridiculous, it's on the platter. Like, it's ridiculous. Um, I'm not wanting to necessarily go into the whole political sphere here, but I'm just gonna say this. Okay. You watch the news, you watch or you listen to things. That's not how people talk. I don't
no.
honestly think most people even think that way because it's so absolutely ridiculous. Okay. Um, we pander to these people that have severe psychological problems. We don't
Mm,
help them, promote it. Okay. So, those things honestly concern me very much. I see things like, even in my area here, because where I live here is the township that I live in. It's very conservative. Okay. The city council, all the people, they're conservative. They're very interested in um our city. Okay, and they don't necessarily go along with the whole LA County thing. Okay, so there's that, which is a blessing. Okay. Um, but then just down the road, which it's this California love this. Okay. When you're looking for a house here, right? A realtor will take you to a place and go, now this is a good location, it's safe, everything's great. Okay. And then they'll take you to another house. It's like 2 streets over. Oh no, you don't want to live here. This is a bad area. Okay, well, that kind of struck me right away. It's like, what, you're telling me that these people that live 2 streets over can't walk 2 streets over here and give me a problem? That's a, I mean, you know what I mean? It's like,
Yes,
this
I
is a great,
do.
that's a bad area, but it's, I mean, literally 2 streets away. Okay,
Hmm.
which is, if you walk very slowly, might take you 5 minutes.
Hmm.
Okay, so there's that. Um, I just really, I mean, it's like, what? That, I mean, um, I went through like 3 real estate agents before they figured out it's like, hey, look, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I can afford. Show me, right? And it's interesting because like you were at my place when I lived in Orange County. Okay.
Yes.
Um now there's like 3 little sections right there. You right across the street you have a place called Westminster, and that's considered to be uh a a good town to live in. Okay.
Okay.
And then you throw a rock across the street that way, and you're in Garden Grove. Okay. And that, a lot of people didn't like that because it's the huge Asian influence there. Okay. Um Now that's not necessarily a bad thing, but their gangs are pretty salty. Okay. So they're kind of dangerous. You got to be careful there. It's kind of like going into Watts or something. You got to be careful.
Hmm.
Okay. And um then there's a place called Stanton. Okay. And that is uh and those are all like at the rock distance. I lived in, I was considered Westminster. Okay. But
Right.
right, like I said, right across the street is Stanton, and that was Hispanic. Now I'm talking about when I first came here, okay, which is, what was that? When the last time I actually got physical contact with you and your family uh in California was
Oh,
when I lived, and that was like
yeah.
90 maybe.
Yeah, it would have
91,
been.
something like that.
Oh man, you're talking about, let's see, I got 97, 3 years, 90. Oh, you're right. Probably 92, 91, something like that. Yeah.
That's perfect. That's exactly right. Okay. But oh now I forgot where I was headed with that, but I never saw any of that. Everywhere I went, people were nice and fun. If you have if you have the type of personality where you talk to people, which I was
Hmm.
half, and you got a smile on your face, people typically deal with that really well. Even now, it's like um, I do experiments, okay? Now, there's a dummy version of it, okay? But somebody will tell me their name, and I'll say, I'm sorry. Or this is my friend over here, and this is their name, or whatever. They tell me something. I'm like, I'm sorry. Um, you'd be amazed how people respond to that, okay? Um, uh, most people repeat themselves. They'll say it
Hmm.
again. And so you say, I'm sorry, okay? And if somebody is willing to give me the same information 3 times with me just saying I'm sorry, I know they're not my type of individual. I if okay, I'm just smart enough to be dangerous. So if I think you're dumb, it's just not going to go well, and I don't deal with that very good. So it's like I don't mind being the dummy in the room. I don't mind that. But if they're dumber than me, partner, there's probably most people in the room don't want to deal with them in the first place. So I'm just kind of lucky to be there. Okay, so um. But then there's other people that have a good sense of humor,
Hmm.
that are quick-minded, and you say that, and they laugh at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And those are the people I seek out because
'Cause-
I typically get along good with them. Because
yeah.
I got a good line of bullshit. Okay, um,
Because that's what you
not all I
meant.
got. That's
That
what I got.
that's what you meant in the first place when you said I'm sorry.
Right.
But put people with a sense of humor, they get that. Or people with a sense of humor and a quick wit will actually come back with something like, "Yes, you are sorry." Yes,
Yes.
you are a little
Yeah.
wretched today, aren't
And
you?
that's
Or
exact.
something
See,
like that. There you go. See?
guys like you.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yep.
And those are the type of people I seek out. Now, I typically, I have an aerospace background. Worked in a aircraft manufacturing plant for 15 years, and uh, it taught me a lot about bees and this. Um, I was fortunate enough to be in a position where, being the country boy, walked in. I got put in a department where you got to work on the airplane from nose to tail. 99% of the people in there did one job. They build something like this, and they do it
Hmm.
over and over and over and over, and then go to another group that you know actually does a physical installation of it, but they do it every single time. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, I got lucky because the classes that I had to take to get in there, um, granted, like I said, I'm just smart enough to be dangerous, but I don't consider myself to be like intellectual. All right. So I actually passed the blueprint test. And out of the thousands of people that walk through there, even people with military backgrounds and all that stuff, typically, very few people ever pass it. And so when they brought me into the office after the class was over, because they assigned everybody except me, and I thought, oh, I must have done something bad. You know what I mean? I must have failed or something. Because they in the class, it started out with 50 people. Okay. By the time it was over 8 weeks later, there's 26 people that actually got through, or 24, or something like that. And when they came in, they told everybody, where to report and what department they were going to be in and what they were going to be doing, except for me. And they call me into this office, and they're sitting down with me, and it's like, oh crap, here we go. And they're like, hey, um, you get to pick. I'm like, what do you mean? Well, I get to pick where I work there. And I'm like, well, why is that? And they're like, because you passed the blueprint test. I'm like, I did. Nobody else passed it. I didn't. Nobody else didn't pass it because see, all it was really, honestly, was I'm not telling you I understood any of it because I didn't. I didn't get it. I mean, they gave you a blueprint like this thick, and they ask you questions. You got to figure out how to answer them. Well, okay. Interestingly enough, it was a 40-hour program, right? Every single question they asked on the blueprint test was everything they taught you in those 40 hours.
All you gotta do is
I
pay
mean,
attention.
dude, word for word.
All you
Okay, I
do is
mean,
pay
word for
attention.
word. The question was
Wow.
asked in exactly the way they taught it to you. Okay, and I don't know, maybe I remember stuff. I don't know, but um, I didn't really think it was all that difficult.
Mm.
Okay, now our time is running out. Okay, so like I said, this is one of one, hopefully one of many, because I'm be honest here. One of my favorite people on the planet's looking at me square in the face right now.
Yeah, did.
Unfortunately, life has put us in positions where uh uh we didn't get to really honestly, maintain um that bond. But there's very few days that go by that at some point um uh certain people enter my sphere as far because it makes me laugh. Dude, you used to do some really funny stuff, bro. Okay. Really. I mean, what this guy can do a tennis racket, dude, um, nobody's gonna rival it. I mean, honestly, what this guy can do to a tennis
Yeah.
racket is an
Oh
art form
man.
itself. Okay,
Yep.
so there's and just want
Well,
to say, uh, dude, I got a lot
oh,
of love
I
for
was,
you.
yeah, ditto. I was the Happy Gilmore of the tennis court. Let me tell you.
Oh man, oh man.
Yeah. Woo
Uh,
wee. But
you know how
that's what
tennis rackets are
maybe
supposed to kind of look
maybe
like
that's
this?
what tennis needs. Maybe tennis needs a colorful hero to get it out of its current funk.
Well, you were John McEnroe on steroids, bro.
Oh man, man. Yep. Yep. Except no, normally I wasn't mad at anybody but me. Somebody who had a good shot, I was mad at myself for not getting it, and therefore, by extension, it had to be the racket's problem. So the racket went flying.
Well, the rack happened to be in your hand, and by the time you got done with it, and usually it was only about 3 or 4 sessions, It
Uh-huh.
was it was square, looked more like a oddball shape to the point where
Yeah.
even if you could play tennis with it, the ball's going to go pretty much all over the place and do all kinds of weird stuff. But I
Yep.
mean, I guess that's the beauty of it. Look, man, I'm gonna let you go right now so that we can look this over and see if we're gonna put it out there or not. So
All right.
I'd like to make this kind of a regular thing because I got so many things that I want to talk to you about because I think we'd have a blast doing it. So um
Okay.
uh, and just so everybody knows, this was non-scripted. It will never be scripted.
Mhm.
And if anybody's interested in listening to what we have to say, um, there's some conversations I'd like to have that I think that would demonstrate that people are people. We all got love in us, and um, there's coming a point here pretty soon. I believe that we're all going to have to either bond together
Mhm.
or fight each other, and I
Sink,
don't want
sink
to
or
fight each
swim. Yep.
right?
Sink or
And
swim.
it shouldn't be like that because, as far as I know, okay, I don't care what color you are, okay? Um, I don't care if you cut your hand and it bleeds red, we're brothers or sisters. Period.
Mhm.
Okay. Now, that's how I feel about it. Now, that's the liberal stance I have. So, I don't care who you are, what you look like. If you're good to people and you got love in your heart, I'm on your side, period. I don't care. I don't care what anybody else thinks. Okay. So there's that. And he knows this. This is my heart. This is my sleeve, and that's where I wear it. I take a
Mhm.
beating sometimes, but I'd rather take a beating and have everybody in my sphere know that I got love in my heart. Okay, that's it. So, anything you want to say because we're about ready to run out of juice here. We only get 40 minutes with this.
Yeah, I know. Time flies when you're having a good time talking to somebody, and I always have a good time talking to you. Okay, and
I don't know why.
it's not just reminiscing about old stuff, although it's hilarious to think back of that, now that you're, 50 years older than that, you look back, you go, what was that idiot thinking about with that tennis racket, or what was that idiot thinking about getting in that fight, or but
It was a hell of a lot of fun, though, wasn't it?
yeah, then you realize you're the idiot, and you're like, well, maybe who you are now. So there you have it. Hmm.
Yeah, well, I got some stories I can tell on you. I mean, I won't tell anything bad, but this guy you're looking in the camera at right now, boy, he was a ferocious son of a bitch in his day, and you didn't want to tangle with him. That's for dang sure. And I was always the guy that wanted to run but unfortunately, I couldn't run fast enough to give away from
To get
anybody.
away.
But fortunate enough, I've never been beat up really that
Yeah, but
bad. So
you're a good talker.
sometimes I
See,
deserved it.
but you're a good talker though. See, so I could run away, but you talk yourself out of anything. So it was kind of a match made in heaven. We'd get in trouble. I'd outrun somebody and get away. You couldn't run, but then you just talk them out of whatever it was they were going to do anyway. I remember a couple of those things went like that. I'd mouth off to somebody and they'd go to chasing us and I'd get away, which of course leave, you weren't fast enough. So they'd catch you first. Then by the time we caught up with each other again, you're like, oh yeah, I just talked to him for a while and we're good. I'm like, well, crap. I don't know how to
Well,
do that.
who
I'm
gets to beat
I'm
up a
just
little
I'm
teeny
just
tiny
busy
guy?
running away.
All right. Well, I just so when I went into my freshman year in high school, I was 4'11". I weighed 85 pounds. So, and I never grew much after that, so there we go. I'm going to shut this down so I don't lose anything and this ends weird because I am not going to edit anything ever. This will never, ever be edited. So
All
it's
right.
either going to, or it's not. Okay. So we're going to take a look at this and decide whether we want to throw it around or not. Okay. I'll
Okay.
send you the link. All right. Love you, man.
Love you.
Adios.
Bye.
Till next time. And there it is.